Okay, so look, I'm John. Started this channel for fitness, and honestly, I just want people to be more consciously aware of just their thoughts, the words they're choosing, as well as the actions they commit. Um, One of my things is thoughts form words, words form actions, actions form character, and character forms destiny. Right, your afterlife. Right. So, whatever the case, no matter what you believe in, science or religion, energy isn't lost, transferred from one object to the next into a different form. Now, I haven't said all of that. If your thoughts, words, actions, right, and character can affect your afterlife, how much more power do you have in this realm? So, one of my things is I want to be able to touch on similar topics that stunt people's growth and just humanity, just people in their different journeys, stunts your growth on so many levels. And I feel like failure is one of those things because it creates doubt, it creates a lack of belief in oneself, it creates bad habits, bad decisions, a bad rhythm of life, the universe, nature, and God. You feel me? Um, Failure, there is no failure. That's the first thing I want to say, real quick. Well, not the first, but that's what I want to say. Failure, there is no failure. If you think about it, just taking it back to Edison real quick. He failed 1,000 times, but every time he got more knowledgeable. Failure is literally an indicator that you have to do something different and something more in order to achieve what it is you actually believe in. Because ultimately, you were being successful until you hit failure. That's what made you realize you failed, right? But you don't have to accept defeat. That is a human construct. That is a human limitation. I'm not playing. So, when you hit that failure, that's when you need to become more conscious. It's more awakening. I am in a bad rhythm with certain thoughts, certain actions, the things I might be speaking. You could be in a bad rhythm with your own ego and arrogance. You have to understand these things. And when you hit failure, you hit a chance to grow. Or you can stay at the level of success you're at. Failure is literally an option because it's telling you that you've done things right until this point. Because you haven't failed until this point. So you've done things right until you fail, which means you can continue to be successful at this level. Or, right, you got to start doing something different. There is no failure. It's just an option. It's just an option. And you can choose to grow, or you can become complacent, comfortable. You can choose to embrace defeat. I encourage you to extract the seed of growth from everything that you perceive to be negative, because there is growth in everything. It's what you decide. I'm not playing. You got to create a different rhythm with life, okay? And I made a video on Instagram. I think I might have posted it on here. But look at life like an ocean. And you're in the boat, right? This is the universe. This is hypothetically God and all of this stuff, right? You're in the middle of all of this in this boat. And as you reach in the boat, you can magically pull out different sized rocks. And it doesn't matter how big or how heavy it is, you can lift it. But the effect that it has in this ocean is is an exact proportion to the size of the actual rock. Okay, and you're in this boat. All right. So you're making good decisions. You're making good decisions, and you're creating different rhythm, right? Different rhythm, a vibration in the ocean that creates waves. Different rhythms in the ocean that's ultimately moving your boat. Okay, now let's say you decide to make a really bad decision that just literally destroys your whole life. Hypothetically, right? Your boat's flipped upside down, right? You took a mountain and you tossed it right outside this boat. Like, from that perspective, it didn't even make sense to make that decision. But we don't know that. This is how we grow. Like, we're not supposed to know these things. This is how we grow. And it's really all about how you perceive the situation. Having said that, when you're creating these vibrations in the universe with God, when you're creating this rhythm, right, you got to work through those waves. You got to work, even when you want to recreate something, even if you are new, even if you stop, all of your bad habits, the waves that you created in your life and the universe with God, there's that tide is still coming at you. So you have to still create new waves, create a new rhythm, create a new vibration, create a new life with God in the universe, right? And you eventually work through that current into the new strain, like literally. So, and it's not easy. It's a daily thing because it's a way of life like anything. It's just, one of the things I figured out is one of the things that I figured out about life is life will literally hand you uh, what it is you want. Like you hear all these people talk about the subconscious, what you actually believe, it's what you're going to receive and all of that, right? Even, Jesus was teaching some of this stuff in the Bible. Like, and I can actually go to some passages there, but whatever the case, whether it's good or bad, like you're going to create exactly what it is you're feeding, I mean, it's a balance. It's just about balance. It's not even about good or bad. It's one of those things where even science has conducted that, studies that conclude, atoms have a negative and a positive portion. Like, good and evil. Science is telling you, the universe is telling you that there's a balance, and it's all about how you perceive the balance and can you work through that rhythm? Can you create a new flow? Like once you understand how to go with the flow, that's when you start to see change. But it is a process. The crazy part is we all got the power. I want y'all to think about that movie, The Incredibles. Think about The Incredibles. All right. Now, remember that part at the end of the movie where he was explaining in the first one about why, and I can find truth anywhere. But remember when he was explaining why he was creating the technology, he was like, because if everybody's super, then no one is. You feel me? There's no one special. There's no system. There's no famous person. There's no movie star if everybody can do it. There's no inventor if everybody can believe. You know what I'm saying? If everybody's under the same financial no limitation, you know what I'm saying? Then how do you have rich poor? How do you have the middle class? You don't. So like they're not supposed to. They're not, and that's obviously some form of what I feel oppression. But at the end of the day, there's something about the truth that cannot be completely wiped out. You feel me? That's why no matter what people try to do to dilute it, twist it, confuse it, lie about it, like there are so many different forms of the truth. Like it's crazy. It just tells you that like the truth is everywhere, but it also tells you that no matter how, like there's always that balance to the spectrum. There is no complete bad. There is no complete good. It's all about balance. And when you can figure out these tricks to life, I'm telling you, like, I see it in my own life. And I see how it's evolving in the people that I'm reaching now. Like, it's weird. And, I heard somewhere that you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. So I just want to encourage people to look at stuff in retrospect. Start putting the dots together. Start making sense. Like, you have to literally look within. Whether it's biblically or whatever, man. It all starts within. The deeper that you can go into yourself, your own mind, your own conscious and subconscious, your own spirit, like the deeper that you can go into this, right, and start analyzing all of the gunk, the nasty things, the habits, if anger, depression, distrust, disloyalty, like start looking at those surface characteristics that are always there, and then start looking at what formed those, and once you figure out what formed them, you'll start to understand, well, based off my environment, the knowledge that was bestowed upon me, coping mechanisms, there were only several ways that you could have several things that you could have chosen to do with the hand that you were dealt, given your circumstances, right? And thus, the decisions that you make inform your character and habits, right, on a long enough timeline. So, bottom line, you need to start looking at it in reverse. Okay, well, I have these habits. What did that stem from? So why haven't I let this go? How do I heal from this? Do I not believe I can heal from this? You got to start actually asking yourself, what do you really believe about yourself, about what you can do, about God, the universe? Like, you got to really think. If God tells you that you're his child, the most powerful being in creation, tells you you're his child. I didn't get it either. It's retarded. No offense to anyone who has any type of disabilities. I love everybody. But no, it's a silly thing to to not understand the significance of that statement. The most powerful thing in creation, the creator, said you're his child and you have power, and we don't use it. So there's a lot I want to talk about outside of just fitness and nutrition and stuff, because at the end of the day, I feel like people aren't using their power. People aren't using the best logic, that best inner intuition. People aren't doing what they can to like really change their lives. You got to work through these vibrations, man. You got to work through the rhythm that you created and create a new rhythm. That's all it is. Like, and it's not easy, but it's seriously everywhere. Everywhere. Like, you got to think. Let's look at it like God real quick. And I ain't saying that that's what I'm doing, but I'm saying I'm trying to imagine, right? If I'm God and I understand that there's racism, prejudice, right? If I know that there's an evil side of the spectrum twisting my words, like if I know that there are people working with this month, like if I know all of this stuff, how do I then create something that resonates with everybody? Well, if you're God, then you would create something that resonates with everybody. The truth is everywhere. Stop judging people who don't believe what you believe, because that's foolish. So long as they're chasing a higher consciousness and purpose, don't you think that's what God really wants, the creator? To get to a higher space? It's people that make these names and images evil, but it's all saying the same thing. If you really like start studying, like you got to really start looking though. You got to like make it a lifestyle to want to be conscious, to connect with God, to connect with the universe. You have to do this all the time. Just like you might smoke a cigarette all the time, go to work all the time, like literally. So if it's too much for you, then you've just been programmed by the system and you're brainwashed. This ain't for you then, because it's not too much to like. You can meditate anywhere. You can talk to God anywhere, the universe. You can focus on positive things, positive energy, vibrations. Like you can focus on forming new habits. You can honestly look at yourself deeply, at all of your problems, and start figuring out how to fix it. And once you can start removing this gunk from your body and start filling it with the good stuff, I promise you, like a different way of thinking will happen. Period. It's kind of hard to get all of this out of me because I'm still developing. But I'm telling you right now, like, the truth is really everywhere. And we all got the juice. It's just about what you do with it. But I'm going to keep making videos for sure.